There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Money Time Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Hernandez, and with me today is a legendary real estate entrepreneur and coach, the one and only Mr. Dean Rodgers. What's up, baby?
What's up?
Dude, good to have you on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Beyond
I'm
stoked. Yeah, heck yeah. So for those of the people out there who don't know who Dean Rodgers is, who's Dean Rodgers?
Yeah. So the elevator pitch of Dean Rodgers is got started in the NFL. Then I went on to corporate and then found real estate. Thank God.
Wow.
At this point, I've done just under 600 deals.
Let's go.
Got a rental portfolio of approximately $10 million and started coaching people this last year. And dude, I already was doing deals with people. I'll get into that later.
Right.
But to help people do deals and have breakthroughs is so fulfilling and so much fun. And just when you understand the value of community and relationships, like the sky's the limit, dude.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's where I'm at in business right now and just stoked on it.
That's awesome, dude. And I got to say, you're very inspiring. We're following each other on Instagram.
Yeah. We were flirting on Instagram.
Yeah, flirting on IG flirt, right? And
Yeah.
we knew a lot of the same people, right?
Yeah,
Zuber
yeah.
and Strad and Ty, and it was cool, dude, because I didn't know you were in. I didn't know you're with the NFL, and then I start to see what you're doing. It's interesting because a lot of people, they look at where you're at and they look at, wow, he's made it. He's done 600 plus, close to 600 deals. He has X amount of rental property, and it all looks really cool and inspiring on Instagram.
Yeah.
But there's a path that we have to take to get there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, how did Dean Rodgers get into the NFL to transition to real estate? I mean, that's such a and by the way, you look like you're like young 30s, dude. How old are you?
Appreciate that. I feel like I need me and my wife. I'm 35 now.
Oh, shoot.
So my wife and I, she likes to give me a hard time because she's Latina.
Okay.
She's, Mexican and Brazilian.
Right.
She looks a lot younger than I do. We're the same age, but I got the white skin. So I got to do some preventative things sooner. That's just genetic. So I'm giving myself a hard time when you go start doing stuff, but appreciate that. That's flattering.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah, man. So the journey goes all the way back to just growing up in Central California. I always dreamed of being a professional athlete. And I like to say growing up in Central California has its pros and cons. I think the pros are like when you're growing up in that environment, meaning, it's like farming and dairies and not a whole lot of things. You don't have the beach. You got to drive a couple hours to get there. Everyone likes to think if you grew up in California, you're right at the beach, right?
Yeah.
And the mountains are, hour plus away. So we didn't go do those things a lot. It was just like family. It was faith, going to church. It was hanging out with friends, lots of sleepovers, driving through town on your bike, hanging out with your buddies and playing sports. And sports was my thing. And growing up, one thing that I'm still working on, and it's funny because I'm doing social media stuff and podcasts and stuff now.
Right.
I didn't have my own voice like growing up. Like I was not confident enough to like speak what I was really feeling. And I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about how I feel about things. I just played sports. That was the way that I spoke. I spoke with my actions, That's how I made friends. That's how people like looked up to me or liked me.
Right.
And so I leaned into that because I was good at sports. I was, naturally and physically gifted. So I excelled at sports. That's how I made friends. That's how people, gave me love and I felt accepted. So that was my safe place,
That's awesome.
And growing up, like my parents were super supportive, good family environment. And so growing up, I always thought like you'd fill out when you were a kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right. And I was almost embarrassed too, but I'd always write like whatever sport I was playing. If it was football, professional, NFL. If it was basketball, it'd be NBA player, and it would always flip-flop back and forth. But so, I started playing football in junior high, and I'm playing basketball and all that stuff.
What city were you in, if you don't mind?
So I grew up in Visalia,
Okay.
California.
Okay.
And most people have no idea
Right.
where that's at.
Where is Visalia?
And most people pronounce it Visalia.
Visalia.
But it's Visalia. But it's south of Fresno, about
Okay.
45 minutes, and it's north of Bakersfield, about an hour.
Okay, so in between Bakersfield
Right in
and
between.
Fresno.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was pretty much life growing up, man. And so I started playing football in junior high and played 2 seasons, 6th grade and 8th grade. I missed 7th grade because we came back from a trip from Hawaii as a family.
Right.
And I came back feeling sluggish and like tired. And I was just like, maybe not this season. So I didn't play 7th grade. But I get into high school and, you know, I start playing good again. Start freshman year at running back because I wanted to have the ball in my hands as much as possible.
Right.
Scoring a bunch of touchdowns and playing, you know, really good. And went to varsity my sophomore year and played throughout there. Played running back again and was breaking records and started to get attention from schools, starting to get the letters in, you know. But
Right.
dude, I did not get the love I thought I was going to get.
No.
I thought I was going to have, you know, the USCs and UCLAs and
Big
the Oregon
colleges.
Ducks. Like growing up on the West Coast, you wanted at that time the Pac-10 schools to show you love.
Right.
And USC was like the big name, you know. Reggie Bush was there. Like it was the place to go.
Who's a who?
Yeah. And I did not get any love from them. And I felt like really sad about it. You know, I had the biggest school that had reached out and was interested was Notre Dame. They were interested.
Yeah.
Had some Ivy League schools because I had really good grades in high school.
Right.
And but I didn't get the love, and I was getting a little bit of love from the WAC schools. I don't know if you remember the WAC; they've broken it up, but it had Fresno State, Nevada, Reno,
Okay.
Boise State, La Tech. All those schools were interested, but no one wanted to give me a scholarship. All walk-on stuff. And I went and toured the schools. I went to, you know, Fresno State camp.
Right.
Did all that kind of stuff. Went to Boise State camp. But no one wanted to give me a scholarship. And it might not have helped that I was a tall, white running back.
Right.
That wasn't running a 4.4, you know?
Right.
I was
What were you running?
running a 4.8 in high school.
All right.
So that didn't really help me. The one school that showed me the most love was UC Davis. And I was like, all right, let's go check them out.
Right.
So I went and checked them out and, you know, really good academics. They had a winning history. They were D1 AA, so they were kind of in the mix of the D1, playing some D1 schools. They had just beat Stanford the year before, which was like a big thing.
Deal. Yeah.
And they had a history of quarterbacks and tight ends going to the NFL. And they were looking at me as a tight end. So I was like, all right, most of the schools are looking at me as tight end. No one wants me as a running back.
Right.
This
Clues are on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks like, you know, the path I'm going. Let's go to Davis because they're giving me the most love. And it was only a half scholarship. Again, I had a huge chip on my shoulder from this whole experience.
Right.
So half scholarship. But dude, there's going to be life after football. And 100%. I want to have good grades, or I'm sorry, good like academics and stuff.
Right.
I'm sure those will be important. So I went to UC Davis and I redshirted my first year, and right away, redshirt freshman year, started playing and just started playing really good. And one of the things that was really cool is one of the offensive, well, he was technically the receivers coach, but he was kind of like an assistant offensive coordinator, super creative, offensively minded, and he loved me. And he moved me around in all sorts of special packages, like goal line running back, spread out as a receiver, shift around, and mainly, you know, tight end. But and then my redshirt sophomore year became the starter, and same guy trying to get me the ball a lot. It started to fall off towards the end as he left and went to the 49ers to be a coach there. The one guy who was running the offense after, he didn't really like me too much. And I think it's because his good friend was a tight end also on the team, and I started over him. So it was like this thing.
Right.
So again, another like kind of chip on my shoulder, but had scouts coming to practice, had scouts coming to games. Teams were interested, and I was like, okay, still a little bit in disbelief.
Right.
But like, all right, I feel like there's something here. Like I'm just going to keep giving it my all. And that's what I always do. When I get into something, like I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to be super disciplined and stick with it, right? Not going to give up. So just kept going through it. And then the season's over, And now I start getting calls. Real teams calling me. Me coming from a small town, like this feels pretty big time.
Right.
You know, like it's kind of a little nerve-wracking. But I'm getting calls, and all of a sudden I'm talking to like 12 different teams that are interested in me.
Dude, that's awesome.
At tight end, at fullback. And so we go through that whole process of getting an agent and talking with teams and doing that whole thing and training and all that kind of stuff. And dude, it was crazy, man.
Yeah. How was that? Because your whole life as a kid is leading up to this moment. The moment starts to unfold.
Yeah. It felt crazy because it still felt like, is it real? Is it not? But talking to teams started to feel pretty real. And then I moved back to Fresno. I moved back to Visalia with my parents, and I started training in Fresno with guys that were already in the NFL, guys that were NFL hopefuls. And as soon as I started doing that, dude, it was like when you get in a mastermind room full of other people that are heavy hitters.
Killing it, right?
It's like, okay, it's time to level up.
Let's go.
And now I'm training with these dudes. Like, I'm lifting tons of weight. We're training 6 hours a day, like 2 hours in the weights, 2 hours running routes, 2 hours conditioning. Like, it was full on every single day. I was a machine, dude.
That's awesome.
And I was training with, shout out to Jerome Avery. He's from Lemoore, California in the Central Valley. He's an Olympic gold medalist sprinter. Dude. And he was training me how to get fast as hell. Like
awesome.
Now I'm running a 4.65, 255. Like I'm a machine.
Moving.
You know? And so that year was the year of the lockout. Okay. So it was a different experience with that whole thing. So the draft happens, communication stops, and you're still like unsure what's going to happen. Well, flash forward, lockout lifts, and I get a phone call on a Friday right before I'm about to go out of town to the mountains where there's no reception.
Right.
And I'm just in town with my brother-in-law. I got married a month out of college to my high school sweetheart. And my brother-in-law are in town, and my wife had just got out of town for a bachelorette party. My parents are out of town for some vacation or something like that. And again, the only reason that's a big deal is because I'm still a kid.
Right.
Like, you're still a kid. Like, you just get out of college. Like, you're not an adult.
Right.
You're
how old?
I'm 20, 22, 23.
22, 23.
Yeah. You might like to think that you're an adult, but you haven't really experienced life yet.
Yeah.
But I get a call on a Friday, and it's from my agent. He's like, "Hey, you got your bags packed?" I was like, what? He's like, "The Chargers are going to call you in 2 minutes."
No.
I'm like, okay. He's like, "Dude, get ready. They're calling you." All right, I'll let you go. Hangs up. Chargers call. They're like, "Dean, Rodgers, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" They're like, "You ready to play for the Chargers?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm ready to go." They're like, "Cool. Well, you're on a flight tomorrow at 6 a.m. I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go pack right now then." Hang up. And I'm like, holy shit.
Go.
Dude. And me and my brother-in-law are jumping around like schoolgirls in the living room.
Awesome,
We're like,
man.
yeah, let's go. Like hugging each other.
That
like
is so good.
I was like, dude, this is crazy. So I call my parents, call my wife, tell them, and they're like, holy crap, you know. And so get on the plane the next morning, fly in, and talk about black and white. Dude, life instantly changed. Instantly changed. It was insane. Like, from being, small town boy with, hopes and dreams to literally the day after you're a superstar.
In San Diego.
Now, I'm not a first round draft pick. I'm not the second coming of Jesus, like I'm just a nobody in the eyes of the NFL, but like in the eyes of the world,
yeah,
you're big time.
Absolutely.
And so like instantly, like, I've got the red carpet car, waiting for me at the airport to pick me up.
Oh, dude,
that
awesome.
takes me. I turned my phone off, which was a smart move. I'll come back to that. Turn my phone off to go through this whole thing. And so you roll in. Now, because of the lockout, they actually had the vets were allowed to be there. Veteran players were allowed to be there. They were already practicing, and now all the rookies are rolling in. So they're practicing, and they give me the tour of the facilities. They're like, well, let's go have you go meet Dean Spanos. So start walking me up the stairs to the front office building. Dean's right there at the top of the stairs. Hey, what's up, Dean? You got a great name. I'm like, you too, man. And they're like, well, let's get you in here with the GM and get you signed up. And so I roll into the glass office, and they're like, got the contract already laid out right there. They're like, take a seat. You want to take a look at it? And I'm like, let me call my agent real quick. I call him like, is there anything I should be like negotiating? I mean, what do I do here? He's like, you're not in the position to negotiate. Just sign the damn thing. I was like, okay. So I roll in. I'm like, all right, we're good to go. And so I sign it and sign a 3-year deal with the Chargers. And it was like, all right, well, let's get you down to the locker room. Let's get you all your gear. Let's get you going. You start tomorrow. Dude, and so I get like my physical and stuff from the doctor, and go get all my pads, and they're like stitching your name on the back of the jersey as you're walking in. Like, you're like, dude, this is crazy stuff. Like, this is out of a movie.
It is bad. Well, as you're saying this, I'm picturing it in my mind. It's for sure a movie in my mind.
I'm having flashbacks. And so like, all right, well, let's take you to your locker room. And here's my locker. And then I've got like 3 lockers over is Phillip Rivers. A locker right next to that is Antonio Gates. Like, I'm literally like
right there,
this close to them. That's where my locker is. And their locker's just like, my locker's pretty empty because I'm just getting there. Their locker's full of like all-star cleats, special edition, this and that, like all this crazy stuff, right? And so then people start rolling into the locker room, and they're like, hey, come over here. Let me introduce you to Phillip Rivers. So I'm starting to meet like all the guys, right?
Right.
And what's so crazy, again, going back to relating it to a mastermind, when you're in the room, you're one of the guys.
Right.
When you're outside of the room, you're an outsider. And to think like the week before, I would train 6 hours a day, and then the other 2 hours I'd be playing video games with my buddies,
right.
Like playing FIFA, playing Madden. And I was playing with these guys on the video games. And now all of a sudden, I'm in the locker room shaking hands with them, and we're
about
buddies.
To step on the field.
It's just a crazy feeling, dude.
That is awesome, dude.
It's a crazy feeling. So
surreal to say the least.
Super surreal. It just felt like fake. It felt unreal, dude.
That is awesome, dude.
So now it's game time, dude. Now it's game time.
Right.
I've talked about, I just at the Pineda event we both just came from.
Right.
I was talking with another guy from the NFL that was there, and he played a handful of seasons, and we connected on a deep level, like going back into stories. Practice is actually harder than games, dude. Really? Practice is no joke. It's still cutthroat. It's all business. Like my buddy was saying, he played for the Patriots at the tight end. He would say on a Tuesday, they would roll in like 7 potential backup tight ends and walk them through the locker room to just be like, yo, your spot's not safe.
Oh,
you got to perform always. Like it is the most intense cutthroat business. Have you seen Hard Knocks?
Yes.
And you've probably seen Ballers on HBO?
Partial Ballers.
With The Rock?
Yes.
It is the perfect combination of that, dude.
Really?
It is super intense, cutthroat, alpha male energy all over the place.
Domination.
I'm top dog, even on the same team. And some teams are better than others with that being teammates, right? And then you've got like the Ballers side of it, where you got all the glitz and glamour, the Hollywood red carpet stuff, the supermodel women walking around, like money getting thrown at you. It's crazy.
Right.
So day one of practice, right? I go to bed that night, like barely being able to go to sleep. And just before I go to sleep, I turn my phone back on. I'm like, okay, let me just like check in. As soon as I turn my phone on, dude, it wouldn't stop vibrating for an hour.
Just everybody.
News hit. Yeah, and again, I'm not some massive name that came from Alabama or something crazy like that. From Visalia. But dude, like my phone would not stop vibrating with all the like, hey, congrats, that's amazing. Like, can't wait to come see you play. Like,
that's badass.
Hey, you got my tickets right. Like crazy stuff like that already. Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is wild. So day one of practice, it's like, well, it's time to show up and play, right?
Right.
And I get moved from tight end to fullback. So they put me at tight end or fullback. And I was like, I don't love fullback. I would move around and play some fullback in college, but I'm not going to complain about it. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it everything I got. So the very first play I have is a counter. So I run a counter, go to the left, go to the right, and off comes flying off the edges Pro Bowl Hall of Famer Bob Sanders, strong safety. And he's known to be just like lighting dudes up, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
I come flying around, and all I know is like, I got to go 100% because I don't know what this feels like yet. This is the very first play. There's no warm-ups. There's no like, let's do some drills first. It was like, here's the first play.
Live.
Let's see what you got. I was like, okay, here we go. So I go screaming, flying as fast as I can, don't slow up an inch, and I light him up to the point where North Turner, the head coach, throws his clipboard. He's like, there you go, Rodgers. And he was just like fired up. I was like, fuck, this is sick. And it was just like that every play after another where I was just lighting dudes up, dude. And I was like, I can do this.
Right.
I just have to go 100%. If you go 99%, you're going to get lit up. So I had to go 100%.
And this is on practice.
This is practice, dude. So I'm going 100%. And like, again, little glimpses of like the hard knocks. Like, it's so competitive to where I was pancaking linebackers and stuff like that. And in the locker room, I remember one example, dude that's been in the league for forever. He's retired now. Amazing career. His name's Larry English. And he was even on a reality TV show as one of the like wives of players type of thing in Hollywood or whatever. And I pancake him in practice. And Donald Driver was the starting middle linebacker at the time. And he's like trying to start stuff in the locker room. He's like, hey, Donald or Larry, Dean was saying he pancaked your ass and telling everybody about it, like trying to start some stuff. I was like, I didn't say anything. Right. And Larry's like mean mugging me. He's got a big ass head and everything. Like, he's just hella strong. I'm like, I didn't say anything, man. Like, this is Donald. Like, he's crazy. And it was wild. This is the first time I'm going to make myself look like a sheltered white boy right now. But I didn't know who Rick Ross was at the time.
Okay, the rapper or the
rapper.
drug dealer? Okay,
they're both the same person, right?
Well, no. Well, the original guy who like started the crack pandemic. Well, I'll say the crack pandemic, but he made crack like streamlined was Rick Ross, and Rick Ross got his name from the original drug dealer Rick Ross, which was like way back in.
So I don't even know that story.
Yeah. So okay,
so I don't know the rapper.
Okay,
but they're playing his music and this, doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
And here I am, just like getting into it in the locker room as we're getting ready for games and stuff like that. And like I would start trying to sing some of the lyrics and stuff. And I was like, hey, who's that guy? I was asking Donald, of all people, again. He's like, man, you don't know who Rick Ross is? Hey, this white boy doesn't know who Rick Ross is, man. This guy's crazy. And
the whole locker room gets in on you.
Yeah. It's just stuff like that all the time. And little stuff like, I remember one of the guys, one of the receivers, I won't say his name, but he was like, where's your second phone at? I was like, my second phone? What do you mean? We're eating lunch after practice one day. I'm like, this is my phone. What do I need a second phone for? He's like, man, this one's for your family. This one's for the side girls. You know what I mean? I'm like, what are you talking about?
The NFL.
I'm like, I just got married. I'm like, if my wife did something like that with me, I would take her out on a boat. I just got done watching Dexter. You know, the show Dexter?
Yes.
Take her out on a boat and she go missing.
She gonna be gone.
You know, man, your name is Boat now. Your ass is named Boat.
So they nicknamed you Boat?
That guy did, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, man, it was crazy.
I want to go back real fast because you talked about practice, and I'm a massive believer in practice. Like, I started as a real estate agent, and all I did starting off was practicing, right? And I took my practice much harder than I did the actual me getting on the phone and playing the game, right?
Yeah.
How important is going 100% in practice? And I mean, you went from playing 100% in practice. Most people think it's the game you play 100% at. I want you to just talk about that practice piece because it relates to business in a huge way.
Huge. And I think what I learned from sports transition, no question, over to me as a real estate entrepreneur now.
Right.
Because, dude, games were easier. Games were easier. Physically, for me, I felt better.
Right.
Less tired, less beat up, whatever you want to call it, after a game, and more energized than practice. Because practice, like, you're putting in the reps time and time again. You'll run the same play 10 times in a row until you get it right. And it might take 10 times to get it right, because you might do one part of the play right, and then you mess up another part and you get the cadence wrong. Someone jumps off sides, like all these different components that have to go together, especially when you have a team.
So good.
Especially as you build a team, everyone's got to be performing together at a high level to achieve the goal. And if people are false starting or going the wrong direction or missing the play, like, the whole thing can fall apart. So practice was so fundamental to be able to be prepared for the game. And that's why in the games, like, it was so easy. I'm like, dude, this is easy. It's so much fun. Like, lighting dudes up.
Right.
It was crazy. It was, and that's why I think it's helped me so much in business is because I'm not afraid to put in the reps.
Right.
Most people want all the glory.
For sure.
And they want the easy button.
Yep.
And I'm ready to do the work.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get in the trenches and do it over and over and over again
Till you get it right.
until I get it right.
Yeah. It's not, I believe in this industry, it's gotten less and less and less important. And we don't see enough people practicing.
Yeah.
We don't see enough people really giving it their all in role play, giving it their all in. How about you actually sit down with somebody who's not a seller, role play a seller transaction, role play you at the table, role play you getting the deal signed over the phone. Make it super tough on yourself so when you are live, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
I always say play up here so you naturally default here.
Yeah.
Right? And that's pretty much what it is. And
Yeah.
everything you were saying from how the team, the structure, and make sure that if someone's false starting, if someone's running the wrong way, the system doesn't work, in direct correlation to business.
Yeah.
In direct correlation. What did you learn in, whether that be the NFL or you playing sports in high school, that you implemented in business, or maybe you didn't implement, or maybe you didn't notice that you implemented it, but you did it subconsciously because of what you learned in sports?
Yeah. I think it was just the willingness to be consistent and not give up. Like, I've made a ton of mistakes. I'll be the first to admit I don't have miracle mornings. I don't. I've got 4 kids.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
There is no miracle.
If I had no kids, maybe I could structure everything perfectly, or maybe I'm just making an excuse for myself. That's fine too.
Yeah.
I'm more of a late night worker type of person. But I don't have my days perfect. I don't have my schedule perfect, but each day I'm going to work to get 1% better. Each day I'm going to work to get better,
good.
And I'm not going to take a misstep or a failure and just give up. I'm not going to let it hold me back. Like, when I make a mistake, the best way to fix that is to go get back in the trenches and to go fix it yourself. There's no better way, because no one else is going to come save you.
Yeah,
it's
true.
up to you.
You
got to do the work.
That's
right. So if you fall on your face, if you have a bad rep, then the next play is the time to do it right.
It's on you.
And I think one of the things that really helped me playing football in college and the NFL especially, because the environments are a lot more intense, is the ability to receive criticism and reflect on that and make the changes. I think too many people are soft and get offended too easily, and they're too worried about what people think about them and all that kind of stuff. It's like, who cares about that? Like, if you receive some criticism and some feedback, whether that's like you verbally hear it from a person or it's the results that you're getting, that might be the feedback you're getting.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I didn't have a good month. I didn't have a good year.
Right.
That's your feedback.
Yeah.
It's time to go get back to work, go figure it out. And obviously we can talk till our face goes blue about the best way to do that is get around other people that are doing well.
Right.
And I've become more and more of a believer of that. And that's what I did to excel in football. Before my senior year in college, one of the things that was not something that people liked, the coaches didn't like it, my teammates didn't like it, but I didn't go back to my college town to train with the team before my senior year. I came to LA, Orange County, actually, Thousand Oaks.
Oh, wow.
And I trained at a facility here with Maurice Green.
Right.
He's a gold medalist sprinter that won in the Olympics, and everybody that knows track knows Maurice Green. And they had people like Reggie Bush there and all that kind of stuff training. And one of my college buddies told me about it. When I went there, I think I just had 6 training sessions for speed and agility, and they were so intense. When I went back in the summer towards the tail end for my senior year, I was flying past dudes. And everyone was looking at me at first when I rolled up like, hey, where you been? Like, that's not cool.
Right.
Once they saw the results, they're like, where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you, dude? You're so fast. Like, this is incredible. And it's all about being around those higher performers.
So good. So good.
And you're going to hold yourself back if you don't push yourself,
100%. Well, and then they give you those things you need to help speed up, right?
Yeah.
Literally speed up the process, speed up your speed,
Yeah.
right? And we couldn't agree more. When Nick and I got around the big players in this game, that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were able to share those 1 or 2 secrets, which is right.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say 1% better, because that's all Nick says every day. Right? He'll walk in, be like, I'll be like, what's going on? He's like, 1% better, baby, 1% better. Let's go. So
Yeah.
So you're in the NFL, right? Let's go. So you're in the NFL. You have the play. How did you transition? How did the career go in the NFL? Let's talk about that.
So my experience was bittersweet.
Okay.
It was bittersweet because I had everything in my hands. The dream was in my hands. I had all the ingredients. I was playing great. My body felt better than it ever had felt before. I talked about feeling my best when I was training.
Right.
Now I have the best trainers for strength training. I have the best people for like physical therapy and stuff like that. The best nutrition, the best supplements. Like, I felt indestructible. I felt like insane, incredible. Like, I could run through a wall,
Yeah.
And on top of that, what was so like fulfilling and like felt like even more of a dream is over and over again, Norv Turner was going out of his way to stop me and tell me, dude, you keep doing what you're doing. You're going to have a long career. Again, coming from where I came from high school, not getting the love that I had, the chip on my shoulder, going into college, not what I expected, not getting all the love and everything, even though I was first team All-American and had all those great, accomplishments and stuff, having the chip on my shoulder. Now I have Norv Turner, who's been in the league for a long time, seen a lot of players telling me I'm going to have a long career. Like, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
your ego.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I can only imagine.
I'm like, tell me more, like, how do I make this a reality?
Right.
And he's like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you're playing great. And I remember that year was a unique year because ESPN just started talking about concussions. Junior Seau killed himself. He had just retired, just killed himself, and basically took his life and said, study my brain because of all the concussions.
Right.
Saw old vets walking around the locker room, and it all just started to add up to me. And I had just got done having a concussion with the Chargers. And by the way, this is pretty darn common. When you have a concussion, you're supposed to go tell the trainers, you're supposed to take time off. I'm not getting off the field. I'm not telling anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're
like,
playing.
I'm staying in the game. I'm not coming off because the next guy will take my spot.
And that's pretty normal. That's
really normal. Yeah. And so it's
Wow.
all these things started to add up to me. And I, for the first time in my career, literally had to start icing my head after practice. Like, I'd take the ice and maybe I'd have it on my leg or my shoulder or whatever. And then I'd be like, okay, well, now I need to put it on the back of my head while I'm at home, and a light bulb went off. If I keep doing this, playing fullback, now things would have been different. If I would have stayed at tight end,
Right.
those collisions are not the same as fullback. Because at fullback, it's a 10-yard distance between you and the guy you're hitting, and you're running full speed. And when you're running between the guards and the tackles, the gap is literally this narrow. I'm not joking, like this narrow. So how are you fitting through there?
Right.
and going to the side to hit with your shoulder. Like you're not.
Right.
And if you do, you look weak. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to have the same impact.
Right.
You're running straight head through, right?
Every
head
time.
first. That's the most effective. And you look like a badass if you do. And that's how you blow dudes up. But you're killing yourself.
The other side, yeah.
The other side of it is you're killing yourself. So I had this just like weigh so heavy on me, and ultimately made the decision. I got in one hand the dream, and again, like I can go on and on about stories.
Right.
Just the treatment you get from people, just like you're getting on the plane to go play somewhere, right? And you're rolling out on the tarmac, and they got basically the red carpet. They got like tables full of like food and like gifts and stuff like that. You're rolling up, getting on the plane, and they've got, you know, an envelope they hand you full of money. And I remember the first time I got it, I was like, what's this? They're like, you know, spending money.
Have
I was
fun.
like, okay,
Thanks.
please, thank you. You know, and they got like, you know, chefs on the plane, like
that's
freshly
awesome.
prepared meals. Like, well, what would you like today? Rolling, and you're like, this is crazy, dude. Like, it's like my own custom 747 plane with all my buddies
Right.
on the plane, getting like these custom meal, you know, gourmet meals. And so you get those kind of experiences, and then like rolling up to the hotels. You got fans just like magically outside waiting, you know, screaming, wanting your autograph. And I'm not joking, literally supermodel women in like the slinky dresses rolling through the lobby of the hotel, just walking up to people. And you're like, what is happening
Going on
right now?
Different life.
Different life, dude. It's crazy. And just different stories from other players. I won't mention any names, but just like stories on stories of just crazy stuff, man.
That is crazy. Dude. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
It's like if you were leaning in heavy on your testosterone male side of like, what are all the dream things you could have?
For
like,
sure.
Those are all there.
That's all.
Those are all there, man. So
That's funny.
that you have that dream in your hands.
Okay.
Something that you've like built up. You've got all the fame. You've got all the money that you can make. All the cool experiences. And then you've got the other side where it's like, I'll live a lot healthier, longer life if I take this option. So it was like, what should I do here, man?
And did you have kids at the time?
Nope.
No kids.
No kids.
Now, did you? I know you. So you married your high school sweetheart. That's your wife now.
Yep.
You guys moved to. Do you guys both move here when you got?
No.
No.
No. She stayed in Central California.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you came over here. You were playing ball.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, so went through that whole experience and realized, okay, I've got some choices here. I could try to go. I mean, I wasn't in the position to say, hey, yo, Antonio Gates, tight end's my spot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hall of Famer Antonio Gates. And if I went to another team, because I was already talking to other teams, what's that journey going to be like? And by the way, I'd kind of already like opened Pandora's box on the whole head thing.
Right.
Like, is it going to get any better anywhere else? Because I've already kind of like done damage.
Right.
And once you kind of start to do the damage, it doesn't just get better, and then it's healed and fixed like a bone, right? A bone heals stronger. It doesn't heal really at all.
Right.
You do the damage, you've done the damage, and if you go start doing more damage, it gets worse.
It's even worse. Right.
Right. So even if I go play tight end somewhere else,
You're still gonna get hit.
I'm still going to be hitting, and I've already made it worse to where tight end's probably not going to be that much better anyways.
Right.
So I didn't really think hard and long about it. I just was like, I'm done. Got to walk away, dude. So hung up the cleats, and I had other teams calling me like, hey, by the way, you should come,
That's crazy.
try us out and all this. I was like, I'm not looking back, dude. Not looking back.
And what year was that in? Were you 2 years in?
That was 2012.
2012.
Yeah. So I was there 2011, 12. So 2012, and didn't look back. And I don't know if it was just like, I don't know what it was, but something told me not to look back, and again, still getting calls. I was
Right.
still getting calls. I was just like, nah, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Great.
And one of my buddies from college who always teased me, he's like, all right, the Raiders call you right now, $5 million contract.
Would you do it?
Do you do it? I'm like, I can't do it.
That is
He's like,
crazy, Dean.
the Patriots call you, $10 million contract. I'm like, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I walked away for a reason.
Did you know where you were going? Did you know what you were going to do?
Not a clue.
No
Not a
way.
clue, dude. Not a clue.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So you're growing up, this dream of becoming an NFL star. You get into it. You work through all of this trial, tribulation. You become an NFL star. You're playing for the freaking Chargers.
Yeah.
And you hang up the cleats.
I had to, dude.
That's freaking awesome, dude. I say that because it's humbling. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's humbling. There are so many, that identity that comes with being an NFL star.
That's the biggest thing. So me and this guy at Pineda's event, we spoke for over an hour, literally talking about that in itself. Wow. One of the reasons why it's so hard for a lot of professional athletes once they're done, and why a lot of them go broke, why a lot of them literally do nothing. They were in the best shape,
right?
Some of the best physical human specimens on earth, and turn into big fat, couch potatoes.
Wow.
Is because their whole identity is in being the athlete. And again, remember me growing up, I've reflected a lot on this, is the way that I spoke, the way that I showed who I was, my whole identity was through sports and the results that I got.
Right.
I didn't really know who I was. Wow. I didn't know what my opinions were on a lot of topics. Like I was always just super in the middle of things because I didn't really have to spend time thinking about how I felt about things. It was just take action and play, and that was it.
That's who you were.
So it's still, when I reflect back on it, it's still a hole inside the heart, because like that's a huge part of you, right? And I think so. When I transition, my good buddy from college I played football with, he tells me, dude, I know you're done. I think I got a good opportunity for you. I got a company I'm working for in the San Francisco Bay Area, tech company. They're about to go public. I can basically walk you in the door. And that's exactly what he did. Normally these big, massive companies, thousands of employees, they've got all this red tape to like get a job, all these interviews, all this kind of stuff. And he basically walked me right into the hiring manager for a certain position, one meeting on a random Thursday. Was like, you got the job if you want it. So got the job. And now I'm moving to San Francisco.
Oh, shit.
And this is like months after.
Okay.
This is like months after. Again, didn't really like take any time to think about it.
Right.
All I was thinking is going forward. And it seemed like the dream type of job. It kind of matched with what I was interested in and had lots of potential, opportunity, all that kind of stuff. And so I get started, and I couldn't believe how easy it was. I was just laughing because, dude, I just went from all day doing the most physically demanding and mentally demanding things, because you would be in a stadium full of 80,000 people cheering or trying to, tear you down or talk trash or whatever, especially when you're playing the Raiders,
Yes.
Those people are crazy fans. And you're like built for war. Right. You really are. You're like a modern day gladiator. You're ready for the big stage. You're ready to take it on. You're in the zone. Like, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And
lion mode.
When you're in those stadiums, dude, I don't know if you've ever been like on the field or something like that, even as a fan or something, but dude, when the crowd erupts during a big play, like, it's a crazy feeling, dude.
Yeah,
like your whole body vibrates.
Oh shit!
And like you're in your helmet, right? So like it's like you're in this like tunnel, and it's just like all this crazy cheering, and like you're like in your own little quiet like tunnel, and like your whole body's vibrating, and you're just trying to stay focused,
That is awesome.
And like during those kind of games too, it's crazy because like a lot of times you won't even be able to hear like the snap count, like the cadence.
Oh, yeah.
And so you gotta like watch the play and move when people move, when the ball snaps. Like you can't even hear the quarterback.
Oh, shit. Can you hear the play when you guys are huddled up?
Hardly. Heartily. Like you got to be like reading lips. Like, you got to become a good lip reader. You know what I mean? Yeah, it can get really crazy.
That is awesome.
Yeah, just to be in that environment and then go into a corporate office, and you just slap a keyboard around. Like, it's so easy, dude.
And you're in an office.
Yeah,
like
office. Yes.
Oh, dude, talk about night and day.
Night and day, dude.
Night and day. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was that like?
It was exciting because it was a new chapter.
Right.
But I will say this, like, going back to reflecting on how I felt, I had such this weird like feeling inside. Again, because I was so torn. I made this decision to walk away, had this dream in my hands, team still calling me. Like, it just felt really strange.
Right.
It was like ripping a Band-Aid off a big wound, and the wound's just out there, you know?
Right.
And I just remember, like, I got to move on. And yeah, so once I got into it, it was easy, but it was still crazy to kind of reflect back on that whole thing, you know.
Were part of you craving you going back at all? Was there a part of you when you were sitting in that corporate office going, what did I do?
There was parts of me.
Yeah.
There was parts of me that missed that environment, missed being with my buddies, the people I was playing with, you know, missed, the attention that you get
for sure
as being a pro athlete. So you miss that. But again, I just knew, like, all right, I got to move on, got to stay focused. And so, trying to remember what your question was, but yeah, dude, it was.
No, I was just trying to see if you were sitting in there, did you ever go, what the heck? I just went from being pretty much what I wanted to be as a kid. And now I'm sitting in this office, and I'm sure, you know, I know why you made the decision. We know, right? Because, and you're now looking back, probably really grateful for it. But at that time of the decision, at the time of you going from one environment to the other, right? Did your mind play tricks on you? Were you, or were you just set?
It played tricks on me, but I already knew, like, this is ultimately what I want to do. And I remember what I was going to say is, I had to start all over. That was the feeling I had.
Right.
Everything. Because I spent my whole life getting to that point.
A whole new identity.
I had to create a whole new identity, which when I remember back to that time, like, there was parts of me that wasn't even sure to, like, mention that I played football. Like, who am I now?
Right.
Who the heck am I?
Right. What am I doing?
And what skills do I even have to offer to the workplace?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I had to start all over. The only thing I had was hustle. So that's what I did. I hustled my ass off, working at this job. And I remember after the first, like, 13 or 14 months, I'm thinking, well, after the first year, I'm going to get, like, a big pay raise.
Right.
And by the way, I went from a 7-figure contract to a $65,000 salary in San Francisco, which is, I was just joking with Will Dennis, because he started his career in Wall Street in New York. And he tells me he had like a 70,000. You're negative.
Yeah.
Money dried up really fast. Things got really tight. Like, after that first year, I was like, dude.
How long were you at the corporate job for?
For a number of years. Yeah.
Okay.
But after that first year, I'm thinking to myself, money's getting tight.
What the heck? Yeah.
I'm ready for my big pay raise. Like, I need a big pay raise to survive, first of all. But they're going to recognize my hustle, right?
Right.
So.
Tech company.
Yeah, tech company. So, and a lot of people are making good money in tech. You know, that's what I keep hearing.
Right.
They're like, you did great hustle, 65,000. We'll give you a pay raise to 67,000. A 2,000, dude. Are you kidding me? Now, in all fairness, I was not in the type of position, the role that would, like, allow me to have a big pay raise.
Right.
So, dude, my gut, like, dropped. And my heart sank. Like, I was just, like, sick to my stomach, dude. I was like, this is not going to work out.
Right.
This is not going to work out. I got to figure out plan B, like, right now. So I remember going back home and thinking to myself, like, what else am I good at?
Right.
What else do I even like? I don't know even what else I even like.
Right.
And I just remember thinking back to, okay, I like real estate. I remember late night Dean Graziosi TV shows, infomercials.
The OG original. He doesn't. You know, he got. He's not around anymore, or he is, but not in real estate.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Love you, Dean. Love you, Dean.
I remember watching that and being on the edge of my seat, like super, like, dude, I got to do something about this. And watching, TV fix it up type of shows with my parents. And I was like, well, I kind of like real estate. I was thinking maybe I'd be a real estate agent or something.
How old were you?
I was 24, 25.
Okay.
No, I was 20. Yeah, I was 25 at the time.
25. Okay.
So I'm 25 at that point of going through corporate and everything. And I type into Google how to get started in real estate. And the first thing that pops up is Sean Terry's Flip to Freedom podcast.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, what's this? So I click on it, I start listening to it, and he's got his energy and he's all fired up.
Yeah, Sean Terry.
And I was like, okay, I like this guy's energy, man. I'm like
Right.
listening, and then I was like, this is it. And I became obsessed. I was listening to every podcast he had. They were free podcasts, just audio.
Right.
Listening on my phone. And I was taking notes like crazy. And I just started taking action, dude. Just started taking action.
What was that? 2013, 14?
13, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because no one was really around at that time besides Sean Terry. You had Dean. He was more infomercial, but it was Sean Terry. And then you had, Dub Hopkins was around, but he wasn't trained. He wasn't doing anything.
Preston Ely was around too. Doing
Ely.
marketing, talking about different strategies to invest in real estate. So I just started taking action, dude. And the short story is, from the moment I did that Google search to my first deal was 3 months. Oh, shit. And it was just listening to a free podcast.
Just listening to Sean Terry's podcast.
Listening to Sean Terry's free podcast. Everything he said.
That's awesome.
Everything he said. Even like the contract episode.
Right.
He's like, go to my website here to download it. So I download it and I'm like listening and pausing it and like filling it out and like learning how to do it. Right. And I did the strategies one of the strategies he was talking about, online auctions,
right?
HUDhomestore.com, and was marketing. I even followed it so much to a T that I did it in Arizona in his market because he was talking about his market.
Right.
And the first deal I closed was actually a deal in Arizona, got under contract, couldn't find a buyer. I love this part of the story. So I get smart and I go to hit Sean Terry's website and fill it out like I'm a seller.
Right.
And his acquisition guy calls me and I'm like, here's what's going on. He's like, Sean can take care of you. Sean Terry calls me from his car while he's driving. I'm like fanboying out. I'm all excited.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is something brand new.
Right.
I'm looking at him like he's a superstar because he is. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, we'll take care of you. I can get this sold. He gets it sold in like 48 hours.
Let's go.
And deal closes, $12,000, $6,000 hits my bank. We split it 50-50. And I'm like, dude, this is real.
That's awesome. Were you at corporate at the time? Were you at the tech company? So you're at the tech company trying to figure out something else. You Google, see Sean Terry.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I do a couple more deals just like that with Sean. And then I start marketing in Visalia, doing direct mail.
Okay.
And then, the story continues.
When did you quit the tech job?
Years later. Years later.
You were doing real estate.
Side hustle.
No way.
Side hustle.
What were you making on average, like on the side, if you remember?
The first year was like $60,000.
Let's go. So more than what you were making at the other job.
Yeah. But my story is definitely not all rainbows and butterflies.
Okay.
Like my journey has lots of ups and downs. And I think it's important for people to hear it because most people just think
it's the most important.
You're in the NFL, you had all this money, you got rich, screw you.
Yeah. Click.
Yep. Started in the NFL, ended my career early. Money got dry real fast.
They don't pay you all the money when you...
No.
Right.
No.
So you got a portion.
Yes. Then money gets tight, living in San Francisco on very little wages. And I get started in real estate, started making some extra money. I'm feeling good. I'm like, dude, this is going to go amazing.
Right.
After my first year, a guy that I'm wholesaling houses to in Visalia, he's like, dude, you're really good at finding deals. You want to flip houses together? And I was like, well, yeah, that's the next thing I want to do. And so he's like, it's getting a little bit slow here in the Central Valley. You were doing deals in Phoenix. You want to go flip there? I was like, yeah, I got some contacts still there. So the short story is we buy 6 houses in the first month And then I'm like ready to still go hard. And he's like, let's slow down and see how these go. Four of them we make money on, not a lot. 2 of them we lose $100,000. My first flips, dude. And I was not in the position to lose $100,000 on my first flips.
Right.
Like that hurt, dude. And so I had to crawl out of that the next year.
Right.
Like, and again, going back to the stories of football, like, how do you fix it? You go fix it.
Right. Get to work.
I could have crawled in a hole and crawled and said, I'm a failure. This didn't work.
I'm done.
I go do more deals.
Yep.
You go fix it with more deals, make more money to solve that problem.
Yep.
So that's what I did. Worked my butt off.
That's awesome.
Now we started scaling, doing flips. Now we're doing 20 flips. Now we're doing 40 flips, 60. We get all the way up to 100 flips. And we're just cranking, dude. We're cranking 100 flips in a year. And that same year that we finally get there in San Diego, I'm thinking, hey, let me start doing some investing here. I live in San Diego. I'm investing in Central California, but you can do more sexy flips in San Diego. Right. So let me do some here.
So you had moved from Visalia to San Diego at that time?
Yeah. Okay. From San Francisco back to San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and so basically I was doing everything virtual.
Right.
I never lived in Visalia doing all these flips.
Right.
And thought to myself, well, let me do some stuff here. Well, someone that was kind of like in our circle of people.
Okay.
He was kind of like a little bit of a wild card, but he was doing deals with other people. Seemed like someone, all right, he's doing deals. People are making money, it seems like. He presented me an opportunity. I was like, let me check it out. So I'm like 5-6 years in now doing the business. I think 5 years. And I'm making pretty decent money and I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm thinking, all right, this person's in my circle of trust. Let me just dive in.
Right.
So it's a new construction deal in San Diego, and I've never done a new construction deal.
Okay.
Brand new. And he shows me like this architectural drawings, the plans and permits are ready to go. I'm like, all right, cool. Says I'm going to make this much money and it'll be done in like 4 months or something like that, which what new construction deal do you know is going to be done in 4 months? I do no due diligence on this deal. I don't call one person. I don't call the architect. I don't call the civil engineer. I don't call the lender. I don't call anybody. It was like the dumbest thing I could have done. Mm-hmm. It was blind faith. And it's because I wanted to do that next deal so bad. I wanted to do the deal more than me actually taking the time to do the due diligence, you know? And so when you do that, when you need to do that next deal, you make mistakes.
So good. So true.
And I always tell people that it's better to do no deal than a bad deal.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
If I didn't do that deal and didn't make the projected money, which was on paper, it would have been a lot better than the money that I lost.
Yep.
And so the way that whole story played out
what did you lose?
was this guy was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He was a crook, a criminal, legit. He had tied up millions of dollars of other people's money, millions of dollars of other people's money in bad deals, and I just happened to be in one of them. And the deal was plans, permits, ready to go. Well, guess what? Day one of buying that lot. Okay, I thought we were going to start the project. Okay, what's taking so long? It all started to unravel, and then one day it finally hit me, and I felt so sick to my stomach. I'm like, I think I just got scammed. And I did. This guy scammed me. He had nothing. He had nothing ready to go. It was all fake. So, like, I started making calls, and the architect was like, yeah, I haven't got paid on anything. Call the civil engineer. The plans and permits, they're nowhere ready to be close. Wow. We need payment on this. We haven't gotten this from him. Like, we're nowhere close. I call the lender. Oh, yeah, he's already drawn several $100,000s. Here's the receipts. All fake receipts.
Holy shit.
Dude, it was nasty.
Wow.
So I had to I went
Your
into
name's on the
survival
deal?
mode. My name's on the deal. Shit. I had to go in survival mode. I had to go negotiate with all these people, learn all these new things I had no idea about. And the net after a year of fighting through that whole thing, I ended up losing $187,000.
Wow.
Could have been worse.
Wow. Could have been way worse.
Way worse, especially if I didn't negotiate like an animal with all these people.
Dude.
But dude, it was so painful. And what was worse about it was kind of like the shame and embarrassment of like getting scammed. Like you just feel sick, dude.
Yep. I've been there, dude. I was in Arizona. I gave a contractor $225,000 for 4 projects. One of them being in North Dakota. Vanishes.
Wow.
I go try to clean it up. I end up losing. By the end of the day, by the time I was done, it was like 225, 230.
So you know what it feels like.
Oh, dude, it was the worst. And I know what it feels like to be like.
You feel sick, dude.
You feel sick, but you also feel like an idiot.
You feel like an idiot.
You feel like an idiot. Like, how
it's
did
your
I
fault.
make this? Oh, it's 100% your fault. But you're like, how was I this dumb to make this mistake? But I also agree that we have to go through it.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe you and I would be here sitting today
100%.
if had we not been through that experience, had we not lost that money, had we not gone through that to go, okay, now we know what not to do.
Yeah.
Right. And if we can lose $200,000 and still keep going, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Throw whatever you want at me.
Yeah.
Right. Watch me win.
Right.
Right. And that's awesome that you've done that.
I mean, you build up a lot of like mental toughness.
Major mental toughness. Well, you have no choice.
You have
because
no
what's
choice.
the other choice? Like you said, crawl in a hole and be a failure.
Yeah.
So that happens. How did you get from that to now where you guys are at today? You're wholesaling hundreds of deals, right? You have a huge portfolio.
Yeah.
How did that evolve?
So from that moment, crawl out of the hole. It's like, all right, here we go again. Another hole I dug for myself. It's my fault.
Right.
I did it to myself. No one made me do the deal. So I got to put my head down, work out of that. Right around that time, we realized, all right, we're doing too many flips. Part of what made it painful during that time is so much of my cash was tied up in the flips, all the construction costs and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I want to get right with having cash in the bank.
Right.
I want to feel like comfortable. I want to sleep really good at night. You know what I mean?
Know what you mean.
I'm tired of feeling like this. So we pivoted our business to wholesaling primarily.
Okay.
And we're really good at finding deals and doing only the easy flips.
Okay.
And focus on what I'm good at. I'm really good at Central California. I know the market. I know the price points. I'm not going to get shiny object syndrome.
Right.
I'm not going to do other crazy projects. Like this is what I'm good at. Single family house investing.
Right.
I'm going to do that. And so stay focused on that. And also realize I've been doing all these deals, but I haven't been accumulating wealth. I've been making good money, but not wealth.
The trap.
So we start buying rentals.
Heck yeah.
Right. So we start buying rentals. The first year it's 18, the next year 12, and just start boom, boom,
All
boom.
in Central California.
All in Central California.
Heck yeah.
Let's start adding them up. And then wholesaling, we're doing 100 deals, wholesaling, handful of flips, and doing that year after year. So it's literally been, a handful of years now. And I think one of the biggest things, so right when we transition to wholesaling, 2019, we start blowing it out, doing really good. 2020 comes around. It's like, this is the year that we're going to build relationships. One of the things that I really neglected when I first started was relationships. And a big part of that was because of my own identity.
For sure.
Thinking back to it, I was like, I have to create my new identity, and I want to do it with my head down and doing the work myself. And I'm going to become somebody again until I go out to the world. Until I say, hey, I'm somebody. Nice to meet you.
Right. So good.
Because I didn't know who I was yet, and I didn't feel confident enough. So that was a self-limiting belief that I had, that I needed to be somebody first and not just be who I was at that time.
So good.
And share that journey.
So good.
Right. And so I think I missed that opportunity that first 6 years of having my head down. Once the light bulb went off of 2020, I'm going to build the relationships. We started a meetup in Central California. February 2020, 100 people show up to the very first meetup. I'm like, this is sick, dude. This is going to propel our business. I'm going to meet, because I've been the Wizard of Oz this whole time. Right. Literally, like living in San Diego, investing in Central California. Nobody really knows what I look like or who I am.
This Dean guy.
They maybe talk to me on the phone. So now I'm going to meet people. And now I'm meeting people I've done deals with for the first time in person. And March 2020, it's like, here we go, next meetup, and the world shuts down. It's like, okay, This was like the next thing that was going to help. Like, how am I going to keep this momentum?
Right.
So I finally get on social media. Before that, I never really used it.
Okay.
I get on social media and I start thinking to myself, how do I still connect with people, add value? So I start sharing like our journey and the results that we're getting and the deals that we're doing, and we're still winning, right? We can help you win too.
Right.
And started saying like, come to us with a lead or a deal, like we'll help you do that deal. So people slowly start to bring us leads and deals, and we're helping them close those deals and making, 20,000 rips, 40,000 rips, 60, 80,000 rips, $120,000 rips with some of these people and sharing these results. And people are like, dude, this is sick. And I'm like saying on social media, I love sending friends money. And it developed into what I call our Friends with Benefits program.
Friends with Benefits program. I freaking love that.
So it's like you're in the friend zone right now, but we do a deal. This is real Friends with Benefits. Like, this is
I like that.
This is where it's at,
like that.
So we have like T-shirts. If
Say
you
Friends
do
with
a deal with
Benefits.
us, you get a Friends with Benefits shirt and like
heck yeah.
a company mug and hat and stuff. So Friends with Benefits helps our business explode. We do 7 figures just in our Friends with Benefits program.
Dude, that is awesome.
And it's become 40% of our deals now.
Right.
And that whole abundance mindset and doing deals with other people is really what's opened up the doors to like so many new opportunities, all the things with social media and now coaching students. Like, business is so much more fun doing it with other people. And now that I've been going to masterminds, the new relationships that are developing there, doing stuff like this, meeting you, like this
Right.
wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have lifted my head up and finally started to build those relationships.
And put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge, dude. That's awesome. So you guys, you're focusing on I know you guys are growing the wholesale. You're still buying properties, right? You're still buying investment deals.
Yeah.
And are you still flipping? Or
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, good. But it
Dude,
sounds like
and the flips we're doing are really good deals.
Okay.
Like we have 3 deals right now, 2 of which are sold. One we're making 120 on, one we're making 111 on. These are in Central California,
Right.
like $200,000-$300,000 houses. How are you making that much money? We're getting really good deals.
right.
Another one we're making 90 on. Like we're making good rips on our flips now.
Where are you guys? Where's the majority of your marketing right now? Where are you getting your deals? If you don't mind,
So,
well, outside of the
Yeah.
Friends with
So
Benefits.
all of 40% come from referrals, and the other are coming from TV. We're just about to start radio, PPC. Our website gets really good organic SEO.
Love that.
We just had a $100,000 net wholesale deal 4 weeks ago close from our website.
That's
a
from
free
SEO?
That's a free deal.
Dude,
Yes.
that is awesome.
Yes.
Let's go. And I'm glad you brought that up because there's a lot of people that got away from SEO. There's a lot of people that got away from just the basic building of the website,
Yep.
right? And it sounds like that's working for you guys
Yeah.
in a big way.
Yeah,
I
more
love
and
that.
more.
And I also just real fast, I want to touch on, I love this because there's so many people that you may be in your market and you may have competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you choose to keep them as competition versus collaborating.
I love
with
this
them.
topic.
And I love what you guys have done in Central California. You, Strat, Jason, Zuber, you guys have all came together versus you guys being competitors. You guys have came together and made a community.
Yeah.
Just real fast, I just want to talk about like how important is that? And for the people that are in markets that they're competing against when they
Yes.
should be collaborating, what's your advice to
I
that?
love this topic. So again, when I finally lifted my head up and realized it's other people, it's relationships, it's the abundance mindset that is going to take me to the next level. Starting that meetup, what it's evolved to is in end of 2021, I had my meetup. Jason Pritchard had his meetup in Central California. Stratton has his meetup.
Right.
And I looked around, I was like, Jason would have his meetup on week 1 of the month. I'd have mine on week 2, like 5 days apart. I'm like, guys, we're not even talking to each other. We like each other,
Right.
but we're not even like collaborating.
Right.
So I got us together all in December of 21 and said, let's co-host events. Let's see what this feels like. So we had Henry Washington come out, I think in February or March 22. Then we started doing like some fun brewery ones, and we were getting hundreds of people to show up to these once we started co-hosting. And we're like, dude, look at these turnouts. People need this. They want this. And the reason people were showing up is because we were shouting from the mountaintops, collaboration.
Right.
Like, guys, we can do deals together. We can win together.
So
that's where friends with benefits came from, right?
So
it's like
good.
collaboration over competition.
Right.
And me, Jason, Stratton, we all combined our meetup at the end of 2022 saying we're one now. And we're going to bring more events and we're going to bring bigger events. Now, just before that, one of the coolest things that happened was we had a co-hosted event in Fresno and Ty Leon Guerrero shows up.
Yes.
Michael Zuber shows up. And this was like the first event that they had come to in Fresno, especially with everything that happened the prior couple of years.
Right.
And they're like, dude, we love this energy. We should do a big event together. When do you want to do it? November. How's November feel? Sure. We had no plans. It was just an idea.
Yes.
The next week we start meeting. It evolves into Ty sending a text to Pace and Jamil.
Yep.
And they're like, we love Fresno. We're in. I sent a text to Henry Washington. He's like, dude, I'm so in. And now we have in November a 600 plus person event in Fresno, California, the first of its kind. And it was just insane, dude.
I heard it was next level. I'm super bummed that I missed it.
And we called it Collaborate to Dominate.
Yeah, it was.
And
was awesome, dude.
So it was. You got to come to the next one.
Yes. When is the next one? So for those.
So the next one's May 13th. May 13th in Fresno, California.
Heck yeah.
It's called Recession Domination.
Recession Domination.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So when we left the event, right, we Michael Zuber, he was so stoked. He's like, when we're doing the next one, you know, and we're like, okay, let's definitely do another one together. So myself, Jason, Stratton, and Zuber, we're doing this next one together.
Let's go.
And we've got Carlos Reyes as a speaker.
Yeah.
We got Nicole Espinoza. Yeah. And there's a special, maybe another third speaker that we'll find out. But it's a one-day event, action-packed.
That's awesome.
And dude, it's just like, so the importance, going back to your question, like talk about the importance of collaboration. When I first got started, it was kind of a competitive market in Central California. No one really talked to each other. And when I saw the guys in Arizona and what they were doing, I mean, all the Guru Capital. Yeah,
Guru Capital.
Everything that they were doing with collaboration and working together, it's like, dude, there's enough deals for all of us.
Everybody, yeah.
It's not a dog-eat-dog world. No. Like, we can all eat.
100%.
You know? And when you truly believe it and experience it by doing deals with other people and helping other people without expecting anything, amazing things happen. Opportunities come to you
100%
when you don't expect it.
Yeah.
Because people understand that genuine, authentic help that and value you're trying to provide.
For sure.
So that's what we do with our meetups. And that's our mission, man. So you've got to be around other people. It's going to help you grow. And for anyone else that's like in other markets that might have a meetup, hear it from me firsthand. If you create that collaborative environment, then and you're the one leading the charge, like, you will reap the rewards. Like, the world, the universe will reciprocate that back. The law of reciprocity, or whatever, if I said it right.
Yeah, law of reciprocity.
So as part of our mission to like further spread the good word, Jason, Stratton, and myself, we started a podcast called the Deal Champs Podcast.
Deal Champs.
And our goal is to go around the nation, go around the country, to other people who have meetups, ideally like 100 plus people meetups where there's like enough people there.
Right.
And our goal is to come into those meetups and to preach collaboration, give all the examples of, you know, everything that we're doing in our market, so that the person that's hosting it can light that community on fire and get them focused on collaboration, get them excited about collaboration to start doing deals together, and to highlight that person as the authority. Like, come to that person. They likely have the experience and resources to help you do deals, to help you navigate these deals. And so we want to help spotlight that person as the authority, get the community on fire, and we're charging nothing for this.
I love that.
We're not charging any sort of consulting fee. We're just there for relationships, for alignment, and like, when you meet new people, new things happen. I just, the past couple of weeks I've been at events, amazing things are happening. Just as a result of connecting with new people. And so that's what we want to do, is go help other people in other markets just get super on fire about collaborating.
That's awesome, dude. I always say you're one relationship away from changing your life, right?
100%.
That's awesome. Well, dude, today has been really fun. I want to have you back because we didn't get to talk about that much real estate.
I know, right?
We talked about a lot about the story, which was great, and I learned a lot from it. I want to thank you because I'm just putting everything into perspective. There's so much to learn from you. So thank you, dude. But I would love to have you back where we can talk about real estate, dive into your marketing, dive into the collaboration that you're doing. Would you be open for that?
Heck yeah.
Let's run it, dude. Let's run
Nerd
it.
out all day.
I'm just curious because obviously you've had a great run. Right? You're doing great things. Yeah. But what's that big thing that's next for you?
At least what I think, and I think this is going to change over time.
Right.
But I think the next thing I'm searching for is that next level of freedom. Like that next level of freedom. I have freedom right now.
Right.
I can choose what I want to do. I'm making really good money. I'm making NFL money right now, by the way. You know what I mean? Like,
all day.
Without all the physical, like,
torture,
punishment, right? Which feels really good, but at the same time, like, I want that next level of freedom. I think it's a handful of different relationships, and my definition of freedom is like in a couple different categories that I still feel like I'm sorting out. But first and foremost, it's every second of my day is doing everything that I want. Now I love business.
Right.
I'm super competitive, but I want much more of my day hyper focused on health and wellness. Like, I want hours of my day, not just like my workout at lunch and stuff. I want like 4 hours in the morning of just like meditation and yoga and working out and doing something competitive like playing basketball and stuff like that. I want hours of that. Then I want hours of time with my family, where we can go out, we can go hiking, we can go explore, experience new things together. And then impact, like, how am I helping other people? And I think the impact, the reason why it's so fulfilling is, dude, when you help other people, it feels really good.
Oh, dude.
That feels really good. Yeah. And that's why I'm enjoying coaching so much, is like when you have a text message like I got yesterday, hey, Dean, I've got 4 deals in escrow and I've got my flip closing that I'm making $53,000 net. Like, that feels good.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
that feels good.
Couldn't agree.
You know what I mean? So I think combining that all together while doing new challenging things in business, like, I'm not going to ever get away from business. That's what fuels all the freedom, right? And so there's other things that I need to figure out and pieces I need to put in place, but that's that thing that I'm striving for.
Dude, that's so awesome. That is good. And based on where you've been, I know you're going there.
Thanks, man.
That is good, dude. Well, for those of the people out there that want to follow you, how do they find you?
Yeah.
How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So best way, if you go to deanrodgers.com, all my stuff's on there, all my social, everything. Instagram's Dean Rodgers Real Estate, YouTube's youtube.com/Dean Rodgers. So I always encourage everybody who's listening to reach out. Like you said, you're one relationship away. Too many people will listen to a podcast and they might want to talk to that person,
right,
but they don't even reach out.
Yeah, that's true.
And social media is free, and it's one DM away from that person.
Yep.
Like, reach out.
So good.
Reach out.
So good.
And who knows what will come from it. Even if it's just a hi,
right?
Like, let's connect.
Yeah.
Who knows what can come of it. So.
And Dean actually responds, guys. There's a lot of people that, you send messages to, they never respond.
They have a bot or something.
Yeah, there's a bot, or they just leave you on red. I've mistakenly done that a few times. Sorry, guys. Well, dude, today was awesome. Today was fun. Thank you so much for being on the show, brother. And most importantly, we're looking forward to having you back so we can dive into real estate. But getting to know you and to getting to know your story is that was incredible, dude. Today was an awesome time. Thank you so much. You guys, if you aren't doing so already, go follow Dean. Make sure that you guys are at the next meetup. If you are in California, that's going to be what city?
Fresno, California, May 13th.
Fresno, California, May 13th. Mark your calendars, guys. Go to Dean's Instagram. I know he has most of the details on there. They can find the details on your Instagram.
So if you want to go to the event, you can go to deanrodgers.com/event.
You guys, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, share this podcast with somebody that you love, somebody that you care about. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Dean, that's good, brother. Let's go.
Yes, sir.